Hey, hello everybody. Not sure how long I'll stay tonight. It all depends on viewers and guests. Obviously, if I break the bank and I get, 20, 30, 40 viewers and several guests to come up and join me to discuss this topic, then I'll stay longer. If I get my normal 3 or 4 viewers and no guests, then this will be very short. Um, there's no point in staying long because otherwise then it takes hours for YouTube to download it. And there's certainly no point in staying long when people don't come to my lives anyway. And they don't even watch the videos afterwards once they've been uploaded. 20 or 30 people, if I get 66 people viewing it, then that's huge amounts. Basically, obviously, Islam is being destroyed by the internet. Um, the internet is something that Islam just couldn't cope with because it does rely on lies. Islam relies on lies in order for it to succeed and continue to grow. It says itself in its own book, Surah 5, Ayah 101, do not ask any questions. And of course, the reason why it tells you not to ask any questions is because it hasn't got any answers. So, of course, the internet on its own is doing a very good job of destroying Islam. But then, of course, with the plastic Muslims we have in the West, and I call them plastic Muslims because that's exactly what they are, you know, um, they are also doing just as good a job of destroying Islam as the internet is. Mohammed Hijab at the moment, of course, running around with his Muta wives or his Mizimar wives, because of course when you speak with a Sunni, they would say, "Oh, we don't have muta." Well, actually, they do have muta. They just call it a different name, mizmar. And of course, what's the name in the West for this? Prostitution. That's all it is, pure and simple. Prostitution. And of course, this is allowed in the Quran, as Muhammad Hijab explains. He's allowed to do what he did with that lady, who we now know is called Bushra. She was given a false name to begin with, Aisha, but however, she's now been doxed by the Muslims themselves. They've doxed her herself because she came out and spoke against them. And this is what Muslims are like, it's exactly what they're like. And let's not forget, they are doing this to one of their own. This was a Muslima. She was a very good Muslim. She prayed and worshipped Allah subhanahu. She did the dawah. She was doing everything she's supposed to do as a Muslima. And Muhammad Hijab basically used her as a prostitute, promised to marry her, promised this, promised that, all promise. But of course, they're allowed to break their promises and their oaths the same way they're allowed to lie. And of course, he was lying to her. He turned it into a Mizimar wife, Sunni, Muta wife, Shia, prostitute wife, English westernized, and then obviously she got upset at that. Yeah. No, I didn't get unbanned, Perry. It's a new account. I've been trying to get it up and running for over a week now. We have a guest. Let's see what. Joshua. I was hoping we had a guest who was a Muslima, but no, we don't have a
Hello.
Muslima. All right, Joshua. Because it was a
Thank you.
Muslima who was um,
Oh wow.
messaging me over and over to keep going live so that she could come up and talk to me. And she, um, well, I don't know what's happened to her. There you go. But yeah, Mohammed Hijab turning his wives into prostitutes. Hello, Matthew. God bless you. Um, and this is straight from the Quran. They are allowed to do that. They're allowed to have prostitute wives. Muhammad Hijab, who personally, my gaydar tells me that Muhammad Hijab is gay. I mean, I've had strong sort of feelings that way towards this particular man for quite some time now. His mannerisms, the way he speaks, the way he acts, all says to me that this man is a gay man. And usually my gaydar is quite spot on. Usually, um, and the last big proof I got for him being a gay man is when he took his T-shirt off outside the Chinese embassy to throw his shirt at the Chinese. I can't quite remember what they had done to upset him, but they'd done something to upset all the Muslims. And I noticed that he had actually shaved his chest. um, any man, and especially an Egyptian man who are normally quite hairy anyway, the Egyptian race. Any man who that goes to the length of shaving his chest completely of every single hair is usually, of the limp-wristed sort. And so I believe that, definitely Muhammad Hijab is gay. Um, I think he prefers. I mean, I don't think he's gay in as such as he only prefers men. I think he's more like bisexual, so he prefers both sexes. But his preference, I believe, is towards men rather than women. This is why his first wife and him split up, I believe. Because he was gay. And as I say, this I also believe is why this second lady who pursued him, for a relationship, instead of giving her the relationship he promised her, he turned her into a Mizimar wife, instead of a real wife, because I do believe he prefers boys, which is why he spends a lot of time in Sneeko's company. Sneeko, a young man, clean shaven, is definitely the type of young boy that someone Mohammed Hijab would be drawn to. Um, but as I say, this is basically Islam. This is the truth of Islam, and these plastic Muslims in the West are doing more damage to Islam than actually we can do online. And so it's great. I think it's great that these things are happening, and they're being exposed. You know, as I say, Islam is a men's cult. It's a cult for men, designed by men, run by men, and women. All they are well, baby making machines and sexual gratification for the men, and that's it. Um, that's all they are. And of course, young boys, because as I say, that they certainly don't, they don't sort of have any qualms about what hole they would put it in. They're quite happy Muslim men to put it in any hole. Um, that's why, they're allowed to do it with women, they're allowed to do it with little boys, even their own family. Although the Quran says their own family is off limits to them, if they actually do have any sexual relationships with their mum or their sisters, there's no punishment upon them. They can go and have sex with their mum, and there is no punishment for them doing that. Although, as I say, it is forbidden in the Quran. But as I say, Al Muta, a very famous book by an Islamic scholar, actually points out the fact that if they do, sort of ignore what it says in the Quran about not having sexual relations with their mum, and they accidentally fall over and fall on top of their mum and accidentally have sex with her, there's no punishment for them to do that. During Ramadan and Eid, there is also that they're allowed to have sex with the animals, watermelons. There's a whole list of things that they're allowed to have sex with, and as I say, it's an endless list basically. There's no end to the list that they are allowed to have sex with. Um, so yeah, what Mohammed Hijab done with this woman in the hotel, turning into a prostitute, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was following Islam. He was being a good Muslim. And this is what Islam allows. You know, it does allow the men to basically have sex with anything and everything. Um, so yeah, um, I mean, when it says that they're allowed to have four wives, sure, a four, I a three, and then it says on top of that they can have as many sexual partners as they want that their right hand can possess. You know, straight away it's already given them thousands and thousands and thousands of people who they can sleep with. Because a sexual right hand possession, 424, is anyone who they spend money on. So, for instance, Mohammed Hijab spent money on this woman hiring a hotel room so they could go in the hotel room and jiggy jiggy. As soon as Mohammed Hijab spent his money on that room, he spent it on her. She's his right hand possession. That gives him the right to jiggy jiggy her. And of course, this monetary value can be as small as a Happy Meal in McDonald's. You know, a McDonald's Happy Meal, I don't know how much they are now, 2.99, something like that. Once you've bought the woman a Happy Meal from McDonald's, she's your right hand possession. You are then allowed to jiggy jiggy her. Um, you know, and so this is basically the cost of, basic Islamic prostitution. You know, in the West, I have no idea how much, a street lady costs nowadays. Um, 20, 30, 40, £50, I don't know. But, you're not going to buy one for 2.99 McDonald's Happy Meal. But of course, in Islam, you can. You can buy it, your prostitute for 2.99 McDonald's Happy Meal. Um, of course, this is what Muhammad Hijab did. Although he didn't do it with a Happy Meal, as I say, he did it by spending money on the hotel room. Um, and that's Islam for you. That is what Islam allows. So women, it's you women in Islam that needs to wake up to this fact and understand. You're nothing more than a sex toy. That's it. That's all you are. You're just a sex toy. Um, and if you don't wish to be a sex toy, guess what? Leave Islam, because as soon as all you women leave Islam, guess what? There won't be no more men left in there, apart from Mohammed Hijab men, who have a preference for little boys as well. So, yeah. Well, looks like, again, only three people. So, that looks like,
Tony, Tony.
yeah.
What's that thing with the watermelons?
That's they're allowed to, do that. They're allowed to, if there's nothing else available for them. So if there's no women available, if there's no young boys available, if there's no goats, camels, or family members available, and they are still, frustrated sexually, then they can use a watermelon or any other such form of food that may be laying around the house.
Is that why they use watermelons, Muslims, in their emojis when they're
It could
using
be,
those?
yeah. I mean, all I can say to you is if you go to, an Islamic State country, don't buy a watermelon from them.
Oh, hmm. I was about to donate to you, but for some reason the gifts on my phone were blocked. I don't know why.
The what?
Like the gifts that were blocked on your live stream.
No, yeah, because I haven't unlocked it yet. That's why. At the
Oh,
moment, I'm still trying to unlock the guest feature and the co-host feature. And until you unlock that, then you get limited viewers, you get limited gifts, you get everything is limited. You have to unlock that first, the guest feature and the co-host feature, before you get full rights to all of the live things, including the gifts and the monetary thing. And that's why I was telling people, don't bother at the moment until I finish unlocking it. I will finish unlocking it tomorrow. So then I will be going properly live again after tomorrow on it, and hopefully everything will start working properly after tomorrow.
Mm,
My favourite fruit are oranges, Parry. I love oranges.
mm, mm. Um. So so do you get a lot of like Muslims messaging you? Like,
No, no, not too many. I mean, most of them, they just message me to tell me how lovely my mother is. But I did, as I say, I did get one when I was talking about the Uber drivers. With 3971, where we're all going to be driven to, hell in either Allah's bus or by the Uber drivers. And she messaged me to say who was I calling an Uber driver. Um, and I just replied back, well, of course, I'm calling Uber drivers, duh. And she just sort of carried on with a few more messages and asking me when I was going to go live next. And so I said to her, well, I'm going to be going live next on this platform rather than TikTok because I'm still waiting to get TikTok going. And she said, okay, then next time you go live here, she will come here and speak to me here. And I said, okay, do that. And that was arranged for last night. And I came on last night and she didn't. And then after I finished doing it last night, she messaged me again saying, when are you going to go live? Um, and so I sort of pointed out to her that I had gone live and she obviously missed it and I would be doing it again tonight. And obviously she's either got scared it again and she'll probably message me again when I finish. When are you going to go live? But she did actually tell me she was only 14, so it's understandable that she's, might be a little bit apprehensive and scared to come on.
mm.
But I
Is it
checked
true
the.
that is it true that Muslims have to wear hijabs and bed sheets in the house or not?
No, not in the house. The one place they don't need to wear the men don't have to wear bed sheets at all. Men can wear whatever they want. I mean, it is. They are, supposed to wear a bed sheet outdoors, but underneath that bed sheet, they can wear their Levi's and their t-shirt and their Nike. You know,
Yeah,
although
yeah.
strictly speaking, they're not supposed to wear any of that sort of thing because that's giving money to the kafirs. But they do. But women have to wear the black bin bag everywhere except in their house. And usually you will find because it's so draconian towards them, everywhere else they go, they have to wear the black bin bag. Usually you find when they go inside their house, they walk round naked.
Naked.
So yeah, well, no, I mean not completely naked. I mean they'll usually have like a bikini or something like that on. They'll have very few clothes on. So they go from one extreme to the other. Outdoors, they're fully covered head to foot. Indoors, they wear as little as possible, a hanky here and there, and that's in front of their brothers, their sisters, their aunties, their uncles, their mummy, their daddy, the whole family basically sees them walk round with just two or three hankies. And then, as I say, then before they leave the house, they then have to put their black bin bag on. And that's, I mean, that's another thing that makes it such a crazy, stupid, nonsensical law. Why are they allowed to walk around inside their house, with next to nothing on? included in front of all the windows and everything,
Yeah.
where even people walking outside can see. And yet, when they leave it, they've got to put a black bin bag on, so no
What's the
one can see
point?
nothing. But
What's,
seriously, I mean, come
what's the
on,
point? What's the
it's so ludicrous. It's beyond ludicrous. So
d-
yeah,
yeah, does that apply to like taking the bins out as well?
yeah. Anything where they leave, any time they leave the house, yes, doesn't matter. Anytime they leave the house, they must put the black bin bag on. Doesn't matter what they're doing, how long they're going to be. It doesn't matter. Even if they're just popping into the garden just for 1 or 2 seconds and then quickly running back in, they've got to have their black bin bag on. And there must be a guardian overseeing them all the time. So there must be a guardian inside the house watching what they're doing while they're outside the house. So if they literally just go into the garden just to pick up the pint of milk and run back in again, they've got to have a full black bin bag on, and either their mum or their dad or one of their brothers has to watch them all the time. But as I say, as soon as they then come back
So
in the
so
house,
if
they can take all their clothes off, walk around completely naked, no problem.
so would they so like do you know if so that when they go back in the house, do they wear their like bra or and their
Well, as I
like
say, it's up
knickers
to
or
them.
like
It's
their
it's, it's
underwear, or is
entirely
it just a bikini
it's up to them.
that they
When
wear?
they're inside their house, it's up to them what they wear. If they want to walk round bare ass naked, they walk round bare ass naked. If they want to walk round in their knickers and bra, they walk round in their knickers and bra. If they want to walk round in their Levi's and t-shirt, they walk round in their Levi's and t-shirt. If they want to walk round in their black bin bag, they walk round in their black bin bag. It's entirely up to them what they wear when they're inside their own house with their own family members. If someone else comes from outside, the choice is take. So, say you go to a Muslim's house, you're a stranger. Again, the choice is not theirs no more. They must be wearing their black bin bag, or they must be in a room that you're not in, where they can't and you can't see them. If that's the case, they can walk round bare ass naked while you're in the house. But if they're going into the same room you're in, or you're going into the same room they're in, they must have their black bin bag on.
Yeah.
And as soon as you leave the house and it's just their own family members again, it's up to them what they wear. If they want to wear nothing, they wear nothing. If they want to wear jeans, they wear jeans. If they want to wear their black bin bag, they wear their black bin bag. It's up to them. You see? As soon as
Oh.
they leave the house or another stranger comes to the house, it's no longer their choice. They have to wear the black bin bag.
Oh, because so I could walk down the street any time tomorrow, and I just see a Muslim woman in the kitchen with nothing on, with her breast out,
Yeah, yeah, you can.
washing the
Yeah.
dishes.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, that's the other thing. That's the other point with it as well. You see, when it comes to adult breast suckling, because that's what adult breast suckling is in the Quran. Adult breast suckling is you're a strange man. You've gone round the house, and the only one who's in the house is a Muslim woman. You've gone round to see her husband. Her husband's not there. In order for you to wait inside that house with that Muslim woman for her husband to come back so you can see him, she has to let you suckle her breasts 5 times, each breast. This then makes you her son and her your mother. So you won't jiggy jiggy her. And that's what
What's the
adult breast
point?
suckling
What
is.
is the point?
Well, exactly. What's the point of
What's the point
dressing in a
wearing a
black
black
bin
beanbag?
bag? If well, exactly. That's what everyone keeps asking. What is the point of dressing in a black bin bag if that same woman has to get her breasts out so you can suck them so that you don't have jiggy together? A black bin bag, Lil Ray,
You might as well
is
go.
what Muslim women wear. If you disagree with me, Liz Ray, there's the link in the thing. Please click it, come up and tell me how wrong I am. Muslim women
Is
don't
it
wear
not
black bin
funny?
bags.
Black beanbag. So why is it
It's
like
not
Muslim
supposed to
men
be
when they're
funny, Lil Ray. I don't think it's very funny either. I think all women are beautiful. They are God's creation, and anything that is God's creation that is beautiful should not be hidden. It should be shown. So I
mm,
totally agree with Lil Ray. Covering women up in black bin bags because men say otherwise they're going to rape them. Yeah, I think that is not funny at all, Lil Ray. I think what we
mm,
need to do is look at the men who are saying they're going to rape them if the women ain't dressed in a black bin bag because it's the men who's got the problem and not the women. That's the thing with it, Lil Ray. Allow, allowing men to turn around and say, unless you dress in a black bin bag, I'm going to rape you, is wrong. That's totally and utterly wrong. And if you can't see that, as a woman, I assume you're a woman with the name Lil Ray, then again, yes, it's not funny. Why are you worried about Muhammad's missing teeth now? I mean, after 14 years of being in a wooden box, do you think you're going to have all your teeth, Lil Ray? No. Of course, Muhammad has got missing teeth.
so why is it that men when they're put on their black bin bag, why can they have different colours, but for women it's supposed to be black, like bed
It's all
sheets?
about because it's all about control. All of it is just about control. If you can control a person, even down to what they wear, where they go, what they say, then you have total control over that person. That person has no control whatsoever. You totally control them. They are your dhimmi. And that's what it's all about in Islam. And as I say, it's not just down to the women. It's also down to men who are not Muslims. If you're not a Muslim and you're living in an Islamic state, they totally control you. Everything you say, everything you do, everywhere you go, they say where you, all of it. They control you. And it, I mean, it's no different to governments controlling people, things like that. It's all comes down to a form of control still. But when you bring it down to basics of even what you wear, what you say, where you can go and cannot go, and also even what time you can pray, that is total control. Absolute total control. It's why Islam and communism work so well together because communism is exactly the same.
Mm.
Total control from every aspect of your life. And Islam is no different. Total control of every aspect of your life. As I say, it does ease a little bit if you're a Muslim man. If you're a
Mm.
Muslim man, you get some of that control back, but it's still only a little bit of control. You're still told when you must pray. You're still told what direction you must pray in. You're still told how to wash your hands and face. You know, so it's still control, even as a Muslim man. But when it comes to the Muslim women, and especially the Muslim children and the females as well, total control. And that's what Islam is all about. Total control.
Why do the men wear like different coloured like bed sheets to the mosque and outside, like when they go to the shop? Because I've seen a Muslim man and he wore like a dressing gown or something, but like in a different colour. And I think that's what they go to the mosques in. I don't know what's it called. Why do they wear that?
No. Well, as I say, I mean, basically, when it comes to the men, they have got a variation of colours, but they are supposed to generally wear white. Men, it's generally supposed to be white. And the reason for that is because white is seen as pure and good, and black is seen as evil and bad. So that's why, when it comes to the men and the men are generally supposed to be dressed in all white because they're supposed to be seen as pure and good, and the women are supposed to be dressed in all black because they're supposed to be seen as evil and bad. And they need the
Oh,
men to control them and to keep them, basically good. And that's what it's all about in Islam. Islam is no different. In Islam, everything that is black is bad and is from Satan. Everything that is white is good and it's from Allah. That's why the
what's
black stone, which is a black stone now, used to be white. When it first fell down from heaven and Allah first sent it down to the Muslims, it was pure white,
mm,
like a pearl and almost see through. It was that pure white. That's why when you read verses in the Quran 3106, I can't remember the other two. Again, it says, if you're a black man, you're going to hell. If you're a white man, you're going to heaven. And if you're a black man and you're going to heaven, before you go to heaven, they will turn you into a white man. And if you're a white man going to hell, before you go to hell, they will turn you into a black man. And that's what Islam says.
that's so racist.
Well,
So
of
why
course
do
it
we
is.
have
It's,
black
it's
men?
one of the. It's,
Mm,
how can you turn around and say, a cult that says everyone must be an Arab, everyone must speak Arabiki, everyone must dress like an Arabiki, everyone must do everything Arabiki. How can anyone turn around and say that's not racist? Of course it's racist. It's racist to the whole wide world who's not Arabiki. That's without the colour aspect of it. When you bring the colour aspect into it, of course, it's even more racist. When you bring the female and male aspect into it, of course, it's even more racist. But just the fact that it's only Arabs and Arabs alone, of course, it's racist. Even Muhammad said, I mean, there was a big thing about this just recently on social media about Sneeko talking about a hadith he read where Muhammad said, the best of people are from Yemen. I don't know if you come across it or not, but he went and saw a huge big sheikh, the one who charges £30 for a half an hour if you want to speak to him. And then he also went and saw Ali Dawah and Mohammed Hijab as well, and Uthman, the American dude who was speaking to him about it. And there is an hadith that says, Muhammad said the best of people are the Yemeni people. Well,
mm.
that's where he came from. That's where Muhammad originally came from, and that's where the Qurayshi tribe originally came from. They originally came from Yemen. And Muhammad said himself, the best of people are the Arabs, and the best of Arabs are the Qurayshi from Yemen. That's why that hadith is there saying the best of people are from Yemen. And Sneeko had a huge problem with this because he said, well, I thought this cult wasn't supposed to be racist. Everyone told me over and over, that Islam is not a racist cult. And then he read that hadith where Muhammad said, the best of people are from Yemen. He said, that's clearly racist. And they were all trying to explain it away to him. They all said, oh, bad hadith, weak chain of narration. No, it's not. It's nothing like that. It's true. Muhammad said it and it's true because he was from Yemen. God, he was the most racist man ever that ever lived. And still, as I say, the proof is there that this cult is so racist. It should not be allowed. just for the fact of it. Never mind, as I say, the fact of what they allow to little children of 5 years old, and what they allow to women, being prostitutes all the time. But just for the fact of the racism side of it, it should have been banned years ago, years and years and years ago. This cult should have been banned. And yet, we've had all these racism things over the years, the Me Too, Black Movement, and all the other things, promoting equality in colours. And yet, Islam has grown and grown and grown even bigger beside it. And it's the most racist thing in the world. It's so racist. As I say, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how this racist cult can grow so quick and fast while everyone else is speaking out about, racism, against gender, against colour, against sexes. And Islam is all of that. Islam is so racist against colour. Islam is so racist against sex. Islam is so racist against girls and boys. Islam is, as I say, even so racist against Arabs and non-Arabs. You can't get more racist than that. When you put it down to just one nationality. How can you be more racist than that when you're saying one nationality is better than the rest of the whole world? You can't get more racist than that. And that's exactly what Muhammad did and Islam does. It took it all the way down to Yemen. Look how big Yemen is. It's a small, tiny part of Saudi Arabia, a small, little, tiny part of southern Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure how big it is in relation to the UK, but, probably roughly the same size, if anything. Maybe Yemen's a bit smaller. And Muhammad said, Yemen is the best place ever, anywhere. You can't get more racist than that. That's racist against everything that is not Yemen. It's racist against Saudi Arabia. It's racist against Qatar. It's racist against Afghanistan. So even all of the other 15 Islamic states that surround Yemen, it's racist against all of them because it says Yemen is the best one. But just imagine how racist it is against America or China or India or Russia or England or France. Totally and utterly racist. And yet they get away with this crop somehow. Yes, Parry. Yes, if you're still here, Parry, before you are allowed to go to Jannah, if they allow you to go to Jannah, they will turn you into a white person. But I believe, Parry, you are a Christian already. Because you're a Christian, that means you're going to hell. And of course, that means they won't turn you into any colour because you already are the right colour to go to hell, Parry. But me, as a white man, again, and a non-Muslim, I will also be going to hell. They will have to turn me into a black man, Parry, before I can go to hell. And all other white people. Yes, I am a scholar, Lil Rave, actually.
Is it?
Yes, Perry. Oh, wow, exactly. And that is from 3106 of the Quran, Perry. 3106 of the Quran, although all of them will lie to you about what that says, but that is basically what 3106 of the Quran says. Come the day of judgment, there will be a beast, a huge, big beast that will come on the earth. He will have the staff of Moses and the ring of Solomon, and he will go round and tap everybody on the head. Everybody will get tapped on the head by this beast. And everyone who is going to Jannah to get their 72 houris will all turn white. Everyone who's going to hell after they've been tapped on the head by this beast will all turn black. That's what 3106 says, in truth and honesty. But as I say, they will lie to you that it doesn't say that, but that's exactly what it does say.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know
Yes.
the fall? Do you right the fall of Satan? Did that happen before he created Adam and Eve, or do you believe it happened when the dinosaurs extinct, when that massive meteor, or do you think it happened in 1914 when the First World War started?
You're talking about the fall of Satan.
Yeah, because everyone's saying that it might happen in 1914 because that's the
No, no,
start of
no, 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 no,
prophecies.
no, 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 no. It happened before creation. It was before creation, so it was before Adam and Eve. He hadn't even created Adam and Eve yet. It was before
Ah,
creation.
but
He
what about
hadn't created I mean, well, I mean, it all depends really which way you look at it. I mean, I don't know because it doesn't really give the timeline. But obviously, you can argue that it was before creation, but you can also argue that it must have been after creation because when he fell and he lost, he fell down to earth. And so, in order for him to have fallen down to earth after he's lost, there must have been a creation created because he fell
mm,
down to earth. But
yeah.
was it after he created the world and before he created Adam and Eve, or was it after created the world and Adam and Eve? Again, it's debatable, and I don't think anyone can actually answer that question one way or to other, which would be the correct answer. I think there's an argument for both sides to be correct. That it could have been before the creation of the whole world and before the creation of Adam and Eve, or it could have been, as I say, after he started the creation of the world and again before Adam and Eve, or after. It's, as I say, it's who knows? It's debatable. It's a
Mm,
debatable point that I don't think we'll ever know the answer to
yeah,
because there's
like
no
in
clear
Revelation.
answer to it in scripture. All we do know is that at some point Satan persuaded angels to back him in his fight against God and God's angels, and God's angels and God won the fight, booted them out of heaven down to the earth, where they then ruled the earth. And as I say, that's as far as we know of the story. What the
Mm,
timeline is of that, as I say, is debatable.
yeah, that's something interesting. If you look at Revelation 12, 7, it says there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the
Yeah,
dragon.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I say. I mean, the only information we have on it is very limited, and it's so limited that guessing the timeline of it all is not something that can be done. I don't think with any truth and honesty. It's one of those questions where every single Christian, to be honest and truthful, would have to turn around and say, "I don't know." And in Christianity, there's nothing wrong with giving that answer. If you truly don't know the answer, the best thing to say is, I don't know.
Mm. It's interesting because in Revelation it talks about the fall, but when you look at John, it says Jesus says, "I've seen Satan fall out lightning," talking about past tense. But in Revelation, it's
Yes,
talking about future. So it's
yes,
you know,
yes, 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 yes. Well, again, they say it's in the Gospels, and that's one of the reasons, again, why you can prove, because it says, as you said, I saw Satan fall like lightning from the sky. And that's obviously talking of the past tense of when he lost the battle and he fell from the sky like lightning down to the earth. But as I say, in order for him to have fallen down like that to the earth, then something must have been created. He
mm,
can't fall like that from the sky to earth if there's no earth. There's got to have been an earth there for him to fall down to it, isn't there? You see?
mm,
And as I say, the only question then is was Adam and Eve also created by then, or were they a creation that was created after that?
mm.
And
Also
as
in
I
the
say,
book,
it's not something that I think anyone can answer with all truth and honesty as to the exact timeline of when all of that happened. It's things that we're going to have to find out later on.
mm, in the book of Joshua, do you remember the story when the 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 Israel went to war and Joshua made the sun and the moon stood still? Do you believe that was the eclipse?
Um, I'd have to reread the story to go back over it. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I don't know what story you're referring to, or I don't know. I'd have to reread it to find out.
I'll have to try to get it up. But he went to war with one of the country with the land of Israel, and he commanded the sun and the moon to stand still.
Well, Joshua
Um,
went to war with lots of things.
mm,
I mean, Joshua went. Tony, what is the kissing stone thing about in Islam? Basically, Parry, the kissing of the stone is that they believe that because it's holy and was sent down by Allah, they believe that the black stone, if they kiss it, it will take away their sins. So any sins they have, which Allah hasn't already forgiven them for when they kiss the stone takes that sin for them. That's why it turned from a white stone into a black stone, because the more sin it takes, the blacker it turns. Then I also believe that come the day of judgment, this black stone will grow a face, it will grow a mouth, it will grow the ability to speak, and it will speak to Allah on their behalf and say to Allah, "Oh Allah, this Muhammad, he kissed me. Please, be careful for him. I intercede for him." And then the black stone will basically intercede for every single Muslim that kissed it. They don't need to clean it, Paris, because it they don't need to clean it because it doesn't actually exist, Paris. The black stone is now just seven little pebbles, seven small, tiny little pebbles, and they set it in wax. So every year, just before Ramadan and the Hajj, they get people to come out from Pakistan, special Pakistani men. They come out, they take all the old wax out of it. They take the seven little pebbles out of the wax and they put new wax in with all scented perfumes and everything, so it smells nice. And as they're putting the new wax in, they replace the seven little black pebbles into the wax. So it's not actually a stone anymore because it's been so worn down over 1400 years of people touching it and kissing it that it's now only seven tiny little pebbles. And this again is why how Islam is so ridiculous, because apparently these seven little tiny pebbles are going to grow a face, grow a mouth, and intercede for Muslims come the day of judgment. How seven little tiny pebbles are going to do that, I mean, I was at a loss as to how one great big black stone was going to do that, but how seven little tiny pebbles are going to do that, I'm at even more of a loss. I have more chance of interceding for them with my six teeth than seven little tiny pebbles. Okay, Pete, I think we're going to end it there. There's no
um,
Muslims coming up to speak, unfortunately, on
go on.
the subject of Mohammed hijab stealing all the hotel spaces from the illegal immigrants for his prostitution wives. It's strange, isn't it, how when we speak out against these illegal immigrants being housed in hotels at our expense, immediately they're all crying and, "Oh, no, you should be allowing all these immigrants to come over because they're being persecuted in their own country." No, they don't. Don't be stupid. Um, but as I say, when Mohammed Hijab then takes these spaces away from them so he can have his prostitution wives, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. The double standards and the hypocrisy is amazing in Islam. All right, people.
I've
God
got a
bless.
question before you go. Do you know that
Uh,
black stone? What's that white thing? That bowl, toilet bowl in the black stone. the white
It's
thing.
just the casing. That's what I say. It's because there's no black stone anymore. It's just seven little pebbles. They surround it with wax. They put perfume in it and smelling stuff, and then they surround it in a metal container because it's supposed to look like a woman's faja.
Wow, it's so sexist.
So yeah, it's just all the casing and everything. That's what I say. There is no black stone. The black stone basically doesn't exist anymore. There is no more black stone. You know,
It's
I,
just a
I believe
casing,
I
yeah.
believe the black stone disappeared years ago, and
Mm.
and one of them just went round and picked up seven black pebbles. You know, just to make it look like there's still a stone there. But as I say, what they actually touch and kiss isn't even actually the stone. It's wax. All it
What's the
is wax.
point? What is
That's
the
it.
point?
Coloured wax. That's what they kiss and touch.
What's the point? What is the point?
Well, again, as I say, the point is the same point that it's been there for you to make money.
Mm,
People come from miles and miles around to do that Hajj and kiss that stone.
yeah,
And I mean, in the UK where we are now, look it up yourself. Google it. A package to do Hajj.
yeah.
The cheapest,
Package.
the cheapest package to go to Saudi Arabia to do Hajj from the UK is £10,000, and that's the cheapest one. You'll be sleeping in a tent beside the Kaaba for that. But you can go to the expensive ones where you stay in a hotel, you get driven around everywhere, you get chauffeur driven Ubers everywhere, you get first class treatment to actually get to the stone and touch the stone because usually that's a very difficult job. And that will cost you 30 to £50,000.
Wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
To go there for
That's
5 minutes.
that's
Wow.
why they still have the black stone, which is just little pebbles they picked up off the street and they fill it with wax every year from a man from Pakistan. Exactly. Because everyone who goes on this Hajj tour pays between $20 to $50,000. And that's from the UK. If it's America, you're looking at even more.
It's just a con job, honestly, it is.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
that's
Well, it is.
that's where
It is
Asians
a
get their
con.
lot of
Yes,
money.
yes. It is. It is a con. Yes, you're quite correct. It is just a huge, big con, and that's all Islam has ever been. Is a huge, big con. It started out as a huge, big con to earn Muhammad money. Then he left it, and the Saba took over, and they then made money from it. Then the Ottoman Empire came in. They took and they made huge money. And it's no different today. It's absolutely no different today. Saudi Arabia still makes huge amounts of money from Islam today. Huge amounts.
Mm.
Although,
Yeah,
of course, it makes even more from the oil, and so does Qatar and a lot of those other states. That's where they make the majority of their money from. They still make a huge amount from Islam.
mm. The thing is, they're not contributing to the economy. They're just keeping it for their luxury cars and their houses. They drive around in
Well,
their
yeah. Well,
fast
of course they
cars.
would. Do. Yeah, well, of course they would do. I mean, that's no different from anywhere. I mean, that's no different from anywhere who starts to make large amounts of money from religion. Anyone who's ever made large amounts of money from religion always keeps the majority for themselves.
Mm,
That's why it shouldn't. You shouldn't do it. That's why, as a religious man, you shouldn't do it. That's why, in the Bible, it tells you not to do this.
mm,
It
mm,
tells you not to make any money from it, you know, and it tells you from an early stage in the Bible as well. And as I say, it goes all the way through. No, this is not something to make money from.
mm.
You,
Is
you,
it?
you, you were given it freely, and you also give it freely.
Mm. In the
And
in the
as soon as you
mosques?
do start making money from it, then you're stopped working for God and you are now working for Shaitan because that is what Shaitan wants you to do. That's what Shaitan you know, that's one of his ways of getting a godly person and turning a godly person away from God and back to him by getting you interested in the money. It's so simple. And he's done it many times. And he will continue to do it many times. It's how he got Judas. Anyone who reads their Bible and studies their Bible will understand that's how Satan turned Judas.
Oh yes, money.
Because Judas was in charge of the money. And he got him to start taking the money out of the money bag for himself to
Mm.
begin with. That was the start of turning Judas.
And now it's gone into
And
Islam.
it's
Yeah.
no different today. And I can see it clearly anywhere I go, and that's why I speak out about it such a lot in my videos. Because it's such a shame to see men of God who are men of God and they're being led by God and being turned and twisted in this way by accepting the money. Why? What do you want the money for? What's it going to do? And please do not tell me this ministry or to see to start. Go away.
Mm.
Go away. Get behind me, Satan.
Mm.
If God wanted you to have a ministry, he would give you a ministry. If God wanted you to feed starving children, he would give you the means to feed starving children. If God wanted you to fly around the world, he would give you the means to fly around the world.
Mm. Is it true in the mosques before the prayer they go and wash their face and hands? Is it true that they have one toilets for the man and the woman?
No, everything in the mosque is separated. There is one thing for men, but men and women cannot go to the mosque together.
Right.
They have to
Right.
go separate. They go separate times, separate things. And if they are there together, they are separated by a curtain. There's a curtain that separates them. So the women will be in their part, the men will be in their part. And of course, when the men go in and do their wudu, the women are doing something else, baking the cakes. As soon as the men have finished doing their wudu, they're in the mosque behind their curtain. The women can then go in and do their wudu. So they do go to the mosque together, but when they do go together, they're kept completely separate. And then, as I say, there are other times when they go there and they're kept completely, they go separate times as well. So there's times when they have to go together, there's times when they can go separate, and the times when they go together, they're still kept completely separate. Men and women
Mm.
are not allowed to mix at all anywhere in any
E-
Islamic state.
Even going to like a park or like a school trip.
Yes, doesn't matter. Obviously, they can go to a park together, but they cannot mix. So
Right.
you, as a strange Muslim man in a park, cannot go up and start speaking to a strange Muslim woman. You can't do it. And of course, that makes it very difficult when they're all walking around in black bin bags. Because who do that's why when you go out as a guardian, you have to keep your eyes on your black bin bag. So you know which one is your black bin bag.
How do you know though?
Well,
How
that's
do you
what I'm
know?
saying. That's why you have to keep your eyes on your black bin bag.
Oh.
That's the problem. That's what I'm saying, because if you don't and you accidentally go up, say you accidentally go up to a different black bin bag thinking it's your black bin bag and it's not your black bin bag, and you start speaking to it as though it is your black bin bag, there's going to be some great big Arab who's going to come behind you, draw out his sword and lob off your head for talking to the wrong black bin bag.
Does it promote uncleanliness, Islam? Does it
Huh?
prefer does it promote unfilthiness, Islam? Like
I don't know what you mean
unfilthiness,
by.
like unclean. Does it promote like dirt and uncleanliness?
Um, Not really. Not that I'm aware of. No. I
Oh.
mean, I'm not aware that it promotes anything like that. No. No.
Oh, oh, mm. The thing is though, like I live in a Muslim town, yeah, and there's like loads of houses on my street where it's built up. It's usually by the council, but because the Muslims bought it and they built it up, they have like 20 or 10, 15 people living in that house. And
Oh yeah.
every time
Oh
when I
yeah.
see
Oh
them, they
yeah.
go to the park. It's
Oh
always
yeah.
the boys first, then they come back
Yeah.
home and it's the
No, but
girls.
see the way it works is if the Muslims can afford one house for every single of their four wives and every one of their right hand possessions, then they have a single house for all of them. So Muhammad, at one time, he had up to 11 women and he could afford 11 houses. So he had 11 houses, one house for each of them. And that's exactly how it is in the Islamic world. If they can afford a house for their mother, the mother has one house. If they can afford a house for all of their four wives, all of their four wives have one house. That makes five houses already. If they can afford a house for each of their four mother in laws, then they buy a house for each of their four mother in laws. They now have nine houses. If they have five right hand possessions and they can afford a house for each of their right hand possessions, that's another five houses on top of the nine. That makes 14 houses they now have. That's why a lot of them come to the West, because the West, they
Mm,
get given it free gratis
yeah,
through the welfare system. They
yeah.
don't pay for it. So they have
Oh,
14 people, mother in laws, wives, right hand possessions, and their own mum, all living in 14 different houses, paid for by the state, paid for
mm,
by us. But if they cannot afford one house for all of the 14, then they get one huge big house and
yeah.
they separate it into 14 little rooms. So each
Oh,
of them has one little room.
mm,
So whatever
mm,
they can afford, that's what they do.
oh,
That's why a lot
because
of them come to the West, as I say, because in the West they get given it all free of charge.
mm, what I've seen, they all like to crumble in one big house, and
No, as I
they
say, they
use
do
their own
that as well.
money.
Yes,
That's mm,
as I say, if it comes down to it where they can't afford it, and so, for instance, you've got to remember as well that the wives also have to agree to this. Don't forget that.
right.
You see, it's not just when it comes to a case of they cannot afford a house for each and every single one of them, so they need just say one or two houses for all of them. Yeah, and they've all got to live in one or two houses. It's not just then that the decision of the man. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When it
yeah,
comes down to one house for each and every one of them, that's only the decision of the man, and it's only the decision of the man that's needed. But obviously, when the man then needs two of his wives and eight of their children from those two wives to all live in one house, then he needs both of those wives to agree, doesn't he?
right. Yeah. Mm,
Otherwise, it's not going to happen, is it? You see what I'm
mm,
saying? So if
mm,
the husband says to wife number one, okay, I have a lovely big house, you live downstairs, and then he says to wife number two, okay, lovely, but you live upstairs, and both wives say, oh, yes, lovely, agree, beautiful, then that's what happens. One wife lives upstairs, one wife lives downstairs. When the man is away with some of his other wives in another house, then two wives jiggy together. And then when he comes round to see them both, it's a lot easier for him because he spends one day with the wife downstairs jiggy. He then goes upstairs the next day jiggy the second wife. That's it.
mm,
So if the man can get away with one house and all four wives living in one house, then they do that.
mm. It's crazy how much children they produce.
Well, that's yeah. Well, that's because that's what Islam is. That's basically. the only job that the man has. The only job that the man has in Islam is to produce as many children as possible between his four wives.
Mm.
If he has four wives and he only produces four children between those four wives, that Muslim man is looked upon as a failure amongst all the other Muslim men.
Is it true that other men can jiggy their wives as well and
Well,
get them
again,
pregnant?
with the consent of the husband, yes. Everything comes down to the consent of the man, because the
Right.
man is the one who owns it and controls
Oh,
it
right.
all.
Yeah.
He owns the wife. He buys the wife. When he pays the dowry, that is his deposit and his money to buy that woman. So exactly the same way you go and buy a car, that's your car.
Mm.
That's exactly the same with Muslim men and their wives.
Oh.
When they get married, they pay the dowry. The woman stipulates what the dowry is. If she says it's a happy meal, she gets a happy meal. If she says it's £50,000 and the man can afford to pay the £50,000, he gives her £50,000. But generally speaking, most women are so polite they keep it to a respectable sum and a respectable figure. Even when the man is rich and he can afford it, even more so, because they want to marry the rich man.
Mm.
So they keep it low. And once the man has paid that dowry, that woman is his possession. He can do with her what he wants, and she has no say in it. So if he says to her, go to the next door, jiggy jiggy the man, and then come back home, she must go next door, jiggy jiggy the man, and then come back home. That's Islam. They are possessions. Everything in Islam is a possession. You own it. Everything.
Where,
You
where
own
did
it.
they even buy these wives anyway?
Huh?
Where did they even buy these wives anyway? Off the streets or anywhere?
Well, in Islamic states, it's all done by the government. But I've got to go, Joshua. I mean, loads of questions tonight. I've been here one
Okay.
hour and 10 minutes, which is 37 minutes longer than I wanted to be here for. There's no Muslims coming. No one else is here, only three other people. So God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. Hopefully, my tiki-toki will be live and running tomorrow. I hope. It should be.
God bless.
All right. God bless you, Joshua.